Hello and welcome. I'm Uncle Badger and I hope you're all well in such trying times. This will be the third video in a sort of a mini series that I'm doing where I'm showing off the decks, the tarot and oracle card decks that I have. And today I will be going through the Cathar Tarot. Now this is a number of the decks that I'm going to go through. A number of them I've had for a while. I think they should all be generally in order, but I've had them a while. And I will be putting links to where they can be got in the description below, with all the different decks. A link to each specific deck in its own video. So yeah, there will be a link to the Cathar Tarot deck in the description for this video below. So if you like the look of this one, yeah, take a look, follow the link, and yeah, this is quite a sturdy box. And you've got a little pull ribbon. Hoping nothing falls out. Nope. Yeah. There we go. And with this you get a little book, Secret Wisdom of the Perfecti. It's John Matthews and, Wil Kinghan. There we go. This is quite a, I seem to think this is quite a good little booklet. Got the contents. Yeah, you got a good thick booklet. It's not, and it's roughly hand size. So I think this is A6. I think. But yeah, you get good descriptions on each card with colour photos. I know with some it's just a tiny little sort of printed out few sheets. And just going to flip through that. What's this? This is the minor cards, I think. Six of Swords of one of those. What was that one? The Last Judgment. They all have slightly different names, but gives the extra names there. So they are slightly different from the average deck, and it gives and then getting to know your deck gives you some spreads, some extra stuff. So it's a good proper booklet. So yeah, I actually think I got this from a shop called The Works originally, which sort of had cheap decks in and just cheap books and stuff like that. So whether they were like there was an over surplus somewhere and they got sent to The Works to be sold, but I think I got them for roughly about a third of roughly a little under half the price you can get it off the internet, unless you're wanting a second-hand deck. This is quite. There we go. There we go. And here we have the back. Sort of almost a Maltese cross. And with that, yeah, they are quite glossy, as you can sort of. If I tilt it, you can see the light shining off like there. Yeah, so no glossy stuff isn't to everyone's sort of taste. But there we go. Move that there. Onto the pictures. Yeah, most of the cards are renamed. I'll angle it like that so it can be seen. The Bonhomme. That'll be the Fool. Parfait. Yeah, the Cathars were. They were Gnostics. So there was the whole thing about them having an alternate version of Christianity. Yeah, there was, but with the demiurge and things like that, that the God of the Old Testament wasn't the real God. And that's why Earth seems so, well, imperfect. And then God came with the New Testament, the real God, to say, there is a real God, and previously you've not been dealing with the real God. Yeah. So I think a lot of these I think that, like with him, I think that's he must be one of the heroes of the Cathars, one of the leaders. And here's Lucifer, the light. He's I'm sure, I think he's, can't remember who he replaces. It's not the devil, but he's the illuminator, to illuminate oneself. And with Gnosticism, that's the journey to enlighten oneself, to find the truth, is the aim. And so Lucifer isn't necessarily a demon. He's more of a figurehead for finding the truth. I think he was the hermit. Yeah, I think he was the hermit instead of the hermit. Yeah, and there was with the Cathars, they were all in sort of around the French Alps, so southeast France, and they got massacred. In short, they got massacred in the medieval period. The French king didn't like them. He quite liked Catholicism. He much preferred Catholicism. Yeah, the universal church, as Catholicism translates as the Grail Knight. Yeah, and with the Cathars, they've got a lot to do with like Grail metaphors and stuff, and things like that. And you might find, there we go, the Wheel of Life. Trying to put it at an angle so the light doesn't shine off the cards. That's Wheel of Life. Yeah, the wheel that will be instead of the Wheel of Fortune. The Covenanza. Here we go. The Covenanza. The Endurer. Yeah, and with the Cathars, yeah, that one's Death. With the Cathars, they there's the Siege of Montségur, which is quite fascinating. Iron Maiden did a song about that. A parallelamentum. Fourteenth card. Yeah, and here we go. Instead of the devil, we have the Demiurge, the creator of Earth, an imperfect God creating an imperfect Earth. Some say that he was genuinely a demon, a devil, but some say he did think himself, he was an inferior God that actually tried his best, but he wasn't perfect, so imperfect world. And there we go, here's a card, Montségur. Yeah, that's the last stand of the Cathars. The King of France at the time, he was Catholic, besieged him, I think mainly because the Cathars didn't recognise him as king, and so we couldn't tax them. So one being one of those being the thing, and that being one of the things he didn't like about him. The World of Truth. I quite like the Cathars. Need to start using this deck properly. I'm really getting into Gnosticism. The World of Shadows, and I think that's going to be the Moon card. And here we go, the World of Light. The Sun. It's the 19th card. Here we go, the Last Judgment. And here we go, the Consolamentum. Consolamentum. Here we go, and here we go into shields. Instead of, they've got shields, swords, love, and wisdom as the suits. It all goes into things in the book. I'm quite pleased with that book. It's a good book. It does actually give quite a bit of information, and I think it's a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, so it should be you should be able to bolster the book there with stuff from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. There we go. So what we have here is the Ace of Shields, Two of Shields. Yeah, it's always trying to get like 2 or 3 books to try and reference a deck by using 2 or 3 books to cross-reference with, and so getting a Rider-Waite-Smith deck and cross-referencing it with the book from this deck. It's better than a lot of books in some decks. Ones with the booklets you get in some of the decks with in the tuck boxes, and it's just tiny little printed out pamphlets, and you just, rather than having a picture of the card and sort of a page worth of information, or even half a page or a quarter of a page, you just get like a paragraph, a list of words. Sort of could do with a bit more. Useful to start out. Well, it's not really useful to start out with. It's useful as a quick reference, but not really to, learn with. And it's always to actually properly learn. If it's a new deck, get 1 or 2 books, and then use the book with the deck, and cross-reference them all. I'll go 5 of Shields. And try and take in the picture as well. So it's like trying to go through the descriptions in the 3 books, make notes, and see what the common factors are and stuff, and then each of them will have like optional extra stuff or whatever. And then sort of like almost then taking a look at the picture that goes with the card. 6 of Shields. Taking a look at the picture that goes with the card, see what you can see in it, see what relates to the descriptions. See what you can see in it, so you can sort of try and develop like an intuitive sort of thing. So you can go, the 3 guys in the background. What do they mean? The 8 of Shields here. There's the road directly up the middle, across the field. And in the middle, that's one of the... I know that's sometimes the cross, sometimes seen with Sir Galahad, the first Grail Knight. Even though he's a later addition to the Legends of King Arthur. Even the Grail is a later addition to the Tales of King Arthur. There was a King Arthur much before that, and then it sort of got the Grail and Sir Galahad put in. I do rather like the Legend of the Fisher King. He's original, but different meanings are attached to the Fisher King. With or without he sometimes has the Grail with him, but sometimes in the earlier ones it's a head on a silver platter instead of the Holy Grail. We got 10 of Shields. I like these. It's like some stained glass window, or like a manuscript illumination. bit more sort of modernised versions of the manuscript illustration, because yeah, the figures are actually more sort of anatomically correct. There's actual sort of shape to a lot of it, but that one is quite a lot like the knight's like one of the early sort of when the lord of a manor dies and he has the tomb made, the sarcophagus in the church made, and there's the knight laying down on top. It looked like that, but yeah. Lady of the Shields. Lord of the Shields. Lord of Shields. So I missed what it was. So you had Squire, Knight. That's one like a church sarcophagus. Squire, knights, ladies, and lords. Instead of the pages, knights, quick kings and queens. And there we go, on to swords. You have the ace. The 2. The 3. The 4. Yeah, you got the number of swords in the corners. You got the number of swords there. But, well, thinking about it, not particularly, because in the corners of this one, the 5, you got the same amount of swords in the corner. So you do really have to rely on the text at the bottom to know which number it is. Can't agree, yeah. There we go, number 6. Number 7. That one's quite interesting, it being sort of laid out like a stained glass window in a sense, but it overlapping, the panels of it overlapping. So you've got the monk and the lady with trying to pick up the figure at the bottom, but he's collapsed or is crawling towards the doorway. What does it say? Yeah, the doorway and the 3 figures sort of being 2 separate panels of a stained glass window. Here we go. 8 of shadows. Shadows, swords. The 9. Yeah, here we go, the 10. The 10 of swords are sort of expected to be the knight sarcophagus one. I think that in the Rider-Waite-Smith decks, that card normally is, it's the praying knight with a sword by his side, like sleeping with his hands on his chest. So, yeah, and then more swords on the wall. There we go, Squire of Swords. The Knight. The Lady of Swords. Dove of Peace, perhaps, to be sent out in times of war. Swords being the armaments of war. And there you have the King, the Lord. There we are. And next we have Love. And we have, to start off with, the Ace, the 2 of love. Yeah, quite like the Cathars and Gnosticism. There's the whole sort of, there's a bit of the sort of, with the earth being created by the demiurge. I think he's got a couple of other names depending on which branch of Gnosticism is taken up. I think there are a few variants. The other ones, Theodemon or something as well. But you have a bit of a sort of background that suggests him creating the world in a sort of his own dimension, and he's opening it up for the true God to come to be able to access it better. And it sort of was existing in a sort of being created in a sort of a simulation of the outside reality. In some cases it describes, in the Bible it describes heaven as the real reality, and the earth about us being a sort of a petty reality. That's without the influence of the Cathars and stuff. I think that's that's in some of the English translations of the King James Bible. But yeah. 4 of love. The 5. The 6. The 7. Yeah, I don't really know why I've not used this deck more. I should. And it's got the glossiness, which is not sure how I feel about that. Makes it easier to shuffle though. It's quite a nice, decently thick card. Sturdy enough card. But yeah, I should get to know it and see how I feel about the glossiness of the cards. But yes, the Cathars are fascinating. Yeah, here we go, the Squire. You have more books behind the curtains on that one. The Knight with the Grail. The Holy Grail. As said by if regulars to the channel might recognise Tim the Enchanter, he'd say the Holy Grail. Lady of Love. Yeah, that's a Monty Python reference. That's just before they go and meet the rabbit with the big sharp pointy teeth. But yeah, the Lord of Love. Looks a bit distracted by what's off scene. And here we go on to Wisdom. And we start off with the Ace of Wisdom. And hold on. Yeah. Some of the words have been crossed out on the manuscript. Yeah. It's telling you something, but some of the bits have been erased. You can just see the shadow of the letters beneath. He's been handcuffed around the pillar. Perhaps a prisoner. Or some sort of punishment anyway. To listen to some sort of lecture or sermon. That was number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Pardon me. Well, this is a quite dynamic one. Quite a dynamic one, yeah. Trying to struggle out of the frozen stream. The frosty stream. Six of Wisdom. Looks like he's been given the last rites. We got the Seven of Wisdom. What's that green thing? Can't quite make out. It's the green thing overhanging the window from the shelf. I think it just looks like a bit of green cloth. I was wondering if it was a piece of fish being left out to dry or something. There we go, the Eight of Wisdom. The Nine. The 10. Yeah, there's quite a lot of detail to these cards, quite a lot going on, in a sense. In the sense there's yeah, the backgrounds are quite detailed. There's a lot in the back. There's stuff in the actual background. It's not a blank background, and it's yeah. That doesn't really show what I was on about, but yeah, it's with the. It's like incorporating the buildings and stuff with that one, and the branch going over the roof and stuff, hanging over the roof, and the logs down at the bottom by my finger here where I'm tapping. You know, they're extra little details, not necessarily relevant to, not necessarily metaphoric, not necessarily a metaphor for anything, but there's still the detail there to fill the picture up. So it's a decent enough picture in itself. But yeah, that was the Squire, and here we have the Knight, the Lady, one more left. Yeah, the small child coming out from her skirts. Sort of perhaps teaching the child from a young age. And lastly, the Lord of Wisdom. There we go. There we are. If you're interested, those are peacock feathers. I should have 3 of them. I think one of them's fallen to one side out of view properly, but yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I want to use that deck a bit more often. Yeah, but a lot more often. See how we get on with the glossy paper. I like the imagery of the Cathars and stuff. But anyway, this deck's been out for a while. I'll leave a link in the description below to where to find it, so you can have a better look yourselves. And the Cathars themselves, there's lots and lots of books about the Cathars, lots of additional stuff. Iron Maiden even did a song about the Cathars if you're interested. So there'll be a lot of, even if you just Google Cathars, you should be able to find quite a lot of stuff to start off if you're ever interested in the Cathars. But with that, I'll wish you all a good night. That night, everybody, and I wish you all well. Bye.